Racist prosecutor Fani Willis humiliates herself in court.
Mr. Reagan.
So Fani Willis, as you know, is the crazy black lady diversity hire who has been tasked by the powers that be to submit Donald Trump to a corrupt show trial to inhibit his ability to campaign for president and to try to take him down. The Fani Willis prosecution/persecution of Donald Trump is what is called a RICO case. The corrupt prosecutor here is charging Trump with racketeering.
Specifically, the indictment brings felony charges against Donald John Trump. Every individual charged in the indictment is charged with one count of violating Georgia's Racketeer, Influenced, and Corrupt Organizations Act through participation in a criminal enterprise in Fulton County, Georgia, and elsewhere to accomplish the illegal goal of allowing Donald J. Trump to seize the presidential term of office beginning on January 20th, 21. Specifically, the participants in association took various actions in Georgia and elsewhere to block the counting of the votes of the presidential electors, sometimes called acts of racketeering activity.
RICO cases are typically used to charge organized crime, drug traffickers, Mexican cartels, the mafia. But here, they're using it against Trump and his people for what Fani Willis describes as taking actions to block the counting of the votes of presidential electors. She's saying that Trump and his people were involved with planning and inciting the insurrection. This is just the legal mumbo-jumbo that is needed in order to indict Donald Trump and to put him through this show trial. Fani Willis is very clearly corrupt. Basically, Fani Willis has been exposed for hiring her boyfriend and paying this guy exorbitant fees using taxpayer money. Money which was then used to pay for lavish trips for the two of them. Basically, this bitch stole taxpayer money to pay for her own lavish vacations.
Without naming him, Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis addressed the controversy surrounding Special Counsel Nathan Wade while speaking before the congregation at Big Bethel AME Church over Martin Luther King Day weekend.
I appointed 3 special counsel, as is my right to do, paid them all the same hourly rate. They only attacked one.
Public records obtained from Fulton County show the amount each were paid differed substantially. The DA's office paid Special Prosecutor John Floyd's law firm close to $73,000. Special Prosecutor Anna Cross's law firms were paid a total of roughly $90,000. Over the same time period, the DA's office paid the law offices of Nathan J. Wade more than $650,000.
And so now Fani and the boyfriend have to go and explain all of this to the court to assure the judge that Fani is in fact not corrupt, but she's totally legit and everything is above board and she is totally fit to prosecute this case. Of course, we all know that that is nonsense. She is as crooked as Nancy Pelosi's smile. And so Fani and her boyfriend have both chosen to go up and testify about their lily white purity. And let me just say, this was a disaster. This woman utterly humiliated herself in a variety of ways. I'll explain all of this in one moment. First, of course, I have to sell you something. All right, you know those ads for buying prepper food kits in case disaster strikes? Well, this is one of those ads. But I think the ad copy that the company gave me, I actually think it's pretty good. It's compelling. Listen to this. They wrote, "You won't believe it, but Gen Z is probably more prepared than you are. Recent research reveals a whopping 40% of Gen Z is prepared for the worst. That's twice what Gen X is doing. Shocked? Well, Gen Z knows that something big is coming. And look, maybe not. Maybe nothing big is coming. Maybe everything is going to be just fine. But a lot of us are pretty concerned about the 2024 election, and you know that it is possible that everything is not going to be just fine. I'm preparing for the worst in ways that you would not believe. Actually, I'm doing way more than buying food kits. But if you have a family, the time to do something about a potential disaster in America really is right now. So go to my affiliate link, preparewithmrreagan.com, and there you will find a really good offer, actually. This is really unusual for My Patriot Supply. It's a 1-year food kit, a food kit large enough to last you 1 whole year, and they're gonna give you $700 off. So this is just under $2,000, but then basically you are set, you are good to go. All right, let me read the rest of this copy here. My Patriot Supply has helped millions of Americans Americans, prepare for emergencies. They're ready to help you too. Sealed inside rugged 4-layer packaging, their delicious meals last up to 25 years in storage and provide over 2,000 calories a day. That's over 2,000 calories a day for over a year at a special price of under $2,000. This rare emergency food kit deal ends this week and you won't see it again. And look, if you're not interested in this, don't worry about it. But if you do want this kind of thing, I think now is actually a really good time to get it. So go to preparewithmrreagan.com. Free shipping is included. Preparewithmrreagan.com. So yesterday, the boyfriend, Nathan Wade, he goes to testify about this and he says, oh, well, you know, she paid me back for all those trips. So the money that she corruptly stole from taxpayers and gave to me, I never spent any of that money on her.
Did you take a trip with Miss Willis in 2023 to Belize?
I did.
Did you take a trip to California with Miss Willis in 2023?
I did.
Did you pay for those trips on that credit card?
Let me say this. Let's take the Belize trip, for example, since you started there. That was a birthday gift to me, so I paid nothing for that trip. Zero.
And you're saying that she paid you cash to reimburse you for all of that?
She did.
And she paid you cash for both of your portions or just hers?
Both.
Okay, so that trip, Belize, just Belize, she paid you for everything on Belize?
The entire trip.
Okay.
Now, this is obviously a lie, but in order to try to get away with this lie, this guy says that Fani paid him in cash, paid him back for these trips. She paid him in cash. Now, the reason he said this, of course, is because if you pay somebody in cash, there will be no record of the transaction.
Then you tell us that Miss Willis paid you in cash all the money for the entire trip. It was a gift for you for your birthday, correct?
Yes, sir.
And I'm sure you probably have the deposit slips where you took the cash and deposited the cash into your account, don't you?
I did not deposit the cash in my account.
You don't have a single solitary deposit slip to corroborate or support any of your allegations that you were paid by Mrs. Willis in cash, do you?
No, sir.
Not a single solitary one?
Not a one.
Did you go down to the ATM with Miss Willis while she drew out $2,794 to pay you in cash? That you did you go to the ATM with her?
No, sir. She didn't go to the ATM. She carried the cash.
Oh, and so she would give you the cash. Did you have a little place in your house where you just stack up all this cash that you apparently got to repay you for these benefits that you bestowed on her?
Now, Mr. Gillen, if I answered that, I'm putting myself in jeopardy. If I tell the world that I have cash someplace in my home, don't you think that could be problematic?
No, I don't. I want an answer as to whether or not you have a little cash hoard in your house where you have allegedly taken the money that you got from Mrs. Willis and went and put it somewhere. Where'd you put it?
No, sir.
Now, just put it on the hip and kind of walk around money?
For the cruise, she paid me the money before we took the cruise. So I was here and I could put the money in my pocket or put it away wherever I wanted to do with it. Other trips, she would give me the money there. So at that point, I could either spend it or put it in my pocket or put it in the hotel safe.
And so this likely cannot be exposed. It's a kind of a clever way of doing it, but it's very obvious that it's corrupt. So Fani claims that she keeps a lot of cash in the house. I don't know, maybe thousands of dollars. I don't know. She keeps a bunch of cash in the house.
And so when you got cash to pay him back on these trips, would you go to the ATM?
No, lady.
You would not go to the ATM?
No.
Okay. So the cash that you would pay him, you wouldn't get it out of the bank?
I have money in my house.
You have money in your house. So it was just money that was there.
When you meet my father, he's going to tell you as a woman, you should always have, which I don't have, so don't tell him that. You should have at least 6 months in cash at your house at all times.
So my question was, where did that cash originally come from, if it didn't come out of the bank?
Cash is fungible. We've had cash for years in my house. So for me to tell you the source of when it comes from, when you go to Publix and you buy something, you get $50, you throw it in there. It's been my whole life. When I took out a large amount of money on my first campaign, I kept some of the cash of that. Like, to tell you, I just have cash in my house. And so for many, many years, I have kept money in my house. That money in my worst days has probably only been $500 or $1,000. At my best days, I probably had $15,000 in my house at cash. At all times, there's going to be cash in my house. or wherever I'm laying my head.
So their story is that she paid him from her stash of cash, and then he took this money. She didn't take any money out of the bank. He didn't put in any money into the bank. And so no transactions can ever be discovered because there is no record, right? There's no bank transactions, there's no record, so they cannot be, nobody can look up this stuff because there's no record of it because it was all done in cash. I mean, you do not get more obviously corrupt than this. I just watched the film The Untouchables for my radio show with Sebastian Gorka, Make Movies Great Again, which you should totally check out, by the way, on Rumble. We're hanging out with David Mamet in that review, which is pretty cool, the writer of that film. The guy is a Hollywood legend. It is an awesome episode, if I'm honest. But anyway, this Fani Willis cash transaction stuff, this is so obviously corrupt. It's just like Al Capone, right? I'm like watching this film, The Untouchables, and it's very similar to what Fani Willis is doing. I mean, it's kind of like open corruption BS, but hidden behind technicalities, right? Really, I mean, some criminals are just brazen, and this bitch is brazen. Okay, so the first thing that struck me about the Fani Willis testimony was her absolutely repugnant, smug indignation. But I will get to all of that in just a second. First, I want to discuss Fani Willis's open racism. Yes, this bitch is openly racist.
The characterization.
I'm not going to emasculate a black man, but I'm just telling you.
I'm sorry, what?
I'm not going to emasculate a black man. Did you understand that?
I'm not going to emasculate a black man. Black. Not a good man. Not an innocent man, not a man I respect. No. The only qualifier given in that statement is black. Now, why would she use that particular qualifier? Well, because that's what matters to her. This guy's character does not matter. Her perception of him does not matter. His reputation does not matter. What matters is his race. I guess if she were in a position to emasculate an Asian man, or a Jewish man, or a white man, well, that would be just fine, but not a black man. Oh no, that's crossing a line. Fani would never do that. And this is very telling. Fani Willis has absolutely no problem making an openly racist statement in court in front of millions of people. This is what our culture now facilitates: open racism against white people. This is unacceptable. We need to start making black people uncomfortable with their racism, because this bitch is very comfortable being openly racist. From now on, if a black person says a racist thing, they should be fired from their job. Their careers should be over, just like when a white person does it. Now, I should say that unlike a lot of crazy leftists and many conservatives, and even unlike my former self, I don't really care about racism all that much anymore. Once you go traveling, you realize that a lot of people are racist. The Koreans hate the Chinese. The Saudis hate the Iranians. This African tribe hates that African tribe. And so racism, if you've ever traveled at all, you realize it's kind of part of human nature, right? They tell us racism isn't born, it's learned or whatever, right? But that's not true. Just about everyone in the world is racist. The only people that are not racist are white Europeans, Americans, Australians, Canadians. Like anyone white from a white region, being racist is considered a sin. Not just a sin, like the greatest sin. It's considered ethically unacceptable in our culture, but our culture, white culture you could call it, the diaspora of white culture, is the only culture in which racism is considered evil. And so because of this, in the US, and I think for the better, we've really eradicated racism among white Americans. But unfortunately, we've not done that with black Americans. In fact, we've actually facilitated racism against white people. And so you get situations like this in which this woman openly in court, in testimony broadcast throughout the entire country, feels perfectly comfortable being openly racist. So, as I said, we need to make these people uncomfortable with their racism, because in a society where only one group is condemned for being racist, you have a truly vicious imbalance. Hatred starts to flow in one direction, and that could lead to some terrible injustices and even some very vicious crimes. And we of course see these racist crimes, black people viciously assaulting white people, posted on Twitter every single day. And so we need one standard for everyone in America. And I am very happy if that standard is that racism is unacceptable. We just now need to apply that standard to everyone, not just to white people. All right, so I have established that this evil bitch is racist. But as I said earlier, it's actually her smug, combative attitude in court that really disgusted everybody watching this testimony. And you may have noticed it when she repeated her racist remark and said condescendingly, "Did you understand that?"
I'm not going to emasculate a black man. Did you understand that?
But she was bitchy and awful throughout the questioning.
And I've been very anxious to have this conversation with you today.
Did you listen to any of the arguments?
I did hear the arguments this morning. It's ridiculous to me that you lied on Monday, and yet here we still are. Is there something you didn't understand?
No, I just wanted to make sure that
Okay.
you did not have.
When the state was
Well,
able
it's
to
highly
follow
offensive
ups.
when someone lies on you, and it's highly offensive when they try to implicate that you slept with somebody the first day you met with them, and I take exception to it.
You all met at that conference, though, right?
We did. The meeting.
I think we
And
have.
I'm very much want to be here, so I'm not a hostile witness. I very much want to be
Not
here.
so much that you're hostile, Miss Willis, it'd be an adverse witness. Your interests are opposed to Miss Merchant's.
Thank you.
Merchants' interests are contrary to democracy, Your Honor, not to mine.
All right, let's
Judge,
proceed.
I would just ask that
we can keep things moving. Miss Merchant,
Thank you.
next question,
Thank you.
please.
So after that, you started dating shortly thereafter, correct?
That's a lie. That's one of your lies.
You were essentially her best friend during this time, right?
Not best friend, good friend.
Good friend. Okay, close friend. And so would you frequently socialize with her?
Yes,
And you saw her at work every day?
yes,
So you had a chance to see them interact together on a personal level?
yes,
And so from everything that you saw, heard, witnessed, it's your understanding that they were in a romantic relationship beginning in 2019?
yes,
I certainly do not consider her a friend now, and I think that she betrayed our friendship.
During 2021, you all were friends, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And such good friends that when you needed a place to stay, you asked her if you could take over her lease.
That's a lie.
You did
That's
not move into her apartment?
I
or her
did, but
condo?
that's not the way you characterize it is wrong.
I asked if you could take over her lease.
I did not ask if I could take over her lease.
Same with Aruba. You don't know where that cash came from either, right?
Ma'am, you are mischaracterizing my testimony greatly. I'm not going to allow you to mischaracterize my testimony. I know that I keep money in my house. The amounts of money I gave Mr. Wade, it was never that serious. I don't think I've ever handed him more than $2,500 in a reimbursement.
Would they take Mr. Wade to and from wherever you laid your head?
That has never in the history of ever happened, ever, okay?
Your security team has never taken him?
From my house? That's a lie.
I'm
That's
asking if they've ever taken him anywhere.
And I'm telling you that that's never happened.
So your office objected to us getting Delta records for flights that you may have taken with Mr. Wade.
And, well, no, look. I object to you getting records. You've been intrusive into people's personal lives. You're confused. You think I'm on trial. These people are on trial for trying to steal an election in 2020. I'm not on trial, no matter how hard you try to put me on trial.
So my question was, do you have any problem?
I object to getting any personal records of mine.
Mr. Wade visited you at the place you laid your head.
When?
Has he ever visited you at the place you laid your head?
So let's be clear, because you lied in this. Let me tell you which one you lied in. Right here. I think you lied right here. No. This is the truth,
Judge.
And it is a lie. It is a lie.
Ms. Willis? Mr. Sena, thank you. We're going to take 5 minutes. Be back in 5.
While we're talking about professionalism, she put in 3 different documents. He lived with me.
Full opportunity to respond.
Let me help you out. I lived there in 2020. He never came to my house in 2020, let alone live with me, as you put falsely in these documents. In the first 3 months of 2021, when I could still enjoy my home, Mr. Wade never came to South Fulton, and it is certainly a lie that he lived with me.
20, did he ever visit you at a place that you resided?
Okay. I don't understand. You're going to give me that. In 2020, I lived in South Fulton.
Okay.
That's the only place I lived in South Fulton. That's before I had to abandon my home, Judge.
All right.
And at my
Folks,
home
I
in
think we're
South
gonna clarify
Fulton,
this. We'll break it
he never came there, okay? So if you don't
Folks.
come someplace, you can't live there.
Ms. Willis, I'm going to have to caution you. This is going to be the first time I have to caution you. We have to listen to the questions as asked. And if this happens again and again, I'm going to have no choice but to strike your testimony.
Did Mr. Wade ever visit you at the condo that you leased from Miss Yurdi?
He visited that condo, yes.
He did.
Yes. I'm very confused
You've
now.
never given Mr. Wade money through Cash App?
No.
The only money you've ever given him outside of a contract is cash.
I didn't give him money in a contract, so that was cute, but I didn't give him money outside in a contract. What happened? No, we're gonna answer it since you said it. He worked more hours than he was paid, and the county paid him for the work that he did. So don't be cute with me and then think that you're not going to get an answer.
And you never wrote him a check?
Ma'am, I don't have checks.
Okay. So you have no proof of any reimbursement for any of these things because it was all cash, right?
The testimony of one witness is enough to prove a fact.
So my question
Are you telling
was,
me
do you
that
have
I'm
any
lying
proof?
to you? Is that what you're intimating right here?
I'm asking if you have any proof that you paid him any of these
The
monies.
proof is what I just told you.
You have no written proof. Is that correct? So, but you were saying that you had amounts of cash. You still had that lien in 2022 when you were dating Wade and going on these trips. So the cash that you gave him, that could have been used to pay this tax lien off?
You gonna tell me how to pay my bills?
You had a tax lien in 2022, $4,600.
If you say I did.
And you did not use this cash that you had to reimburse Mr. Wade to pay that off, correct?
No.
Okay.
I went shopping too when I didn't pay it off.
You once said that you would not engage with a personal relationship with anyone that worked for Fulton County. Is that correct?
An employee?
Anyone that worked for Fulton County.
I think I said an employee.
Okay. So that's the qualification you give an employee? You wouldn't.
I think that's the statement that I made. So if you want to quote me accurately.
I'm sorry, the statement, just so I make sure I accurately quote you. What you said was you won't sleep with people who work under you. Do you not consider Mr. Wade working under you?
I consider Mr. Wade to be an agent.
So this chick isn't just a racist piece of shit. She is a piece of shit generally. And she very obviously stole taxpayer money to fund lavish vacations with her boyfriend. I actually expect that the reason that she's so smug is the same reason why we saw Jeffrey Epstein acting smug in interrogations before he was suicided. I think it's the same reason why Senator Bob Menendez is always so indignant. These people believe that they are protected by the power of the establishment. And maybe she is. Maybe she will be protected. Or maybe she is just a natural-born piece of shit. I'll let you guys tell me what you think about that in the comment section below. Now, sensible commentators and legal professionals all over the media basically laughed out loud at Fani Willis's performance yesterday. And of course they did. Think about it. This woman is supposed to be a top legal professional and she's acting like a ghetto thug in front of the entire country.
I don't do my friends like that. So if you tell me it's a G, then you're going to get $1,000. Whatever it is, I didn't ever make him produce receipts to me. Whatever he told me it was, I gave him his money back.
Even for an unqualified diversity hire, this bitch is straight ghetto. And as I said, everyone is laughing at her.
Oh my goodness! Put a fork in it.
She came in and everybody went, whoa.
Whoa! Fani says, let's go, baby. Fani's going to come out here and settle this.
She was angry. She was hostile. She wasn't just argumentative. I mean, she took people on. You're lying. Your papers are lying.
No. This is the truth. Judge, and it is a lie. It is a lie.
All right, Ms. Willis.
Mr. Sena, thank you.
Bad.
Take 5
That's
minutes.
not good.
Be back in 5.
That's not good, man. Fani's losing her bananas. Yikes.
This Robin came across as like a normal person. This one is coming across as an ideologue when she starts talking about protecting and defending democracy.
There's a saying, no good deed goes unpunished. And I think that she betrayed our friendship.
Robin is dead to me, says Fani. Greg?
And I think one of the reasons she came in like fire was because Wade was horrible.
Right.
Wade was sweating bullets by the time the questioning ended. And then he starts talking about the fact when they say, where do you put your cash? And he says, well, I don't want to say it because I don't want people to break into my house. You just said it. I mean, both of them had the same line. You don't want people to break into your house.
Well, no. Look. I object to you getting records. You've been intrusive into people's personal lives. You're confused. You think I'm on trial. These people are on trial for trying to steal an election in 2020. I'm not on trial, no matter how hard you try to put me on trial.
Goodness.
So my question
Is she a psychopath that
I object to getting any personal records.
Keep going, Fani.
We're not dealing with privilege through a witness.
Keep going, Fani.
And I'm not, no, I'm not dealing with privilege. What we had offered to put them in camera for the court to review.
The most disastrous thing I've ever seen.
That's not something you deal with a witness.
And I've seen a bird get stepped on.
So, okay, obviously Fani Willis utterly humiliated herself on the witness stand. But still, somehow, black women on Twitter are praising Fani Willis's testimony as some kind of epic win. So a user on X known as Quandy writes, "This has backfired so spectacularly because they've turned Fani Willis into a living legend." People are going to be quoting her and her daddy for months. Okay. All right. And then Isaiah Martin, who's obviously not a woman, but is a black guy, he writes back, "Facts. Laugh, laugh, laugh." Like, I don't know if he's joking or not. I don't know if that guy's joking. No, he's not joking. He's deadly serious. I just checked his page. All right. Some user called Tiffany says MVP Harris will be Madam President Harris. Hashtag Black Lives Matter. I believe it's a chick named Tiffany. She writes, "And her father is a Black Panther. I'm sure he told her to keep cash in the house for the very obvious reason, because America." And she spells America with 3 Ks, obviously. A woman by the name of Grace Okoro Media writes, "Yep, they've killed their non-existent case by making her take the stand. After this case is dismissed, I want to see her prosecute these traitors to the fullest extent of the law. Hashtag Fani Willis." And then somebody by the name of Laura Marlin writes, "This is why the RICO defendants wanted her gone. She is exceptional, stupendous, fearless, and very fierce." Oh, and she is absolutely brilliant. Go, Fani. It's like black women live in an alternative universe from the rest of us. But of course, under this exact same post, we've got some sensible people responding. Someone named Lessa Pamplin, who I believe is actually a leftist, chimed in. She wrote, "Don't think so, just my opinion." So that's, in fact, a sensible black woman. Then somebody by the name of Just a Guy writes, "When she gets disbarred, I don't think many people will be quoting or remembering her." Someone by the name of Blame It on Brenda writes, "But not in a good way. She's the joke of the year." Somebody by the name of Gingebear3, also goes by Sean, he writes, "I don't know what drug you're on, but it must be amazing." And I thought that was the most clever of the comments, so I'm just going to leave it there. But look, the general consensus is that Fani Willis is going to be disqualified from prosecuting Trump and probably disbarred. And of course, she must be arrested, tried, and convicted of fraud. But will that ever happen? I don't know. We have a 2-tiered system of justice here in America today, and Fani Willis is almost certainly protected, although she did mess up pretty bad here. So it is possible that she'll be Epsteined. Who knows? In the meantime, keep the laughs coming, Fani. You've all but ensured a Trump victory, and now you're giving us some of the best entertainment that politics has had to offer in years. All right, well, that's it for me. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. And remember, it's not that all liberal friends are ignorant. It's just that they know so much that is not so. Good night.
We're at war with the most dangerous enemy that has ever faced mankind in his long climb from the swamp to the stars. And it's been said if we lose that war, and in so doing lose this way of freedom of ours, history will record with the greatest astonishment that those who had the most to lose did the least to prevent its happening. If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth.